What's up, crew? Let's go. What's going on? Oh, I hope you guys can hear me okay. I got a microphone on for this one. I thought it would be nice to have better audio out here. And telling my crew, what's up? How's it going, guys? What's going on? Welcome to sunny Florida, to the Lipson backyard Palace of Pain, the Meathead Mansion. I'll tell you what we got going on. We got our pool going on here. We got our tennis court area back there. All kinds of fun workout stuff. Recovery center, barbecue, cardio, connection. There it is. Wanted to do an Instagram live for you guys, just to talk a little bit about some stuff that we have coming up. What's up, Bird CrossFit? How you going, Dustin? Dude, you know, I have people over my house multiple times a week to do training sessions. For me, it's so fun just to get to train people live and to get to put them through the ringer and show them some of our Thundrbro methods and stuff like that. So it started with like Sunday leg days, which is great. You know, after church, come on over. Baptism by leg press or baptism by leg day, and then come hang out, grab a barbecue, get a swim, and I have such a thrill with that. But now we got a pretty big crew that's coming over. We got multiple days a week. We had a bunch of guys here yesterday, like my boy, the backyard carnivore Yannick, who's on this feed right now. Come over for a chest day, and then Yannick, who's a amazing chef, grilled us up some steak and eggs, and just a real special group of guys that are just like you guys out there, you know, lifetime athletes, movement, training, it's part of their DNA. Most of them have come from one way or another through CrossFit, and now they're getting introduced to our style of training, our method of training, of really thinking about hypertrophy. The process of building muscle is the foundation of everything, but doing it in a more athletic way. People have different terms for this: performance bodybuilding, functional bodybuilding, but our method is really specific, actually, because we take a multidisciplinary approach to bodybuilding, meaning there's a lot of different styles of bodybuilding. You can achieve hypertrophy from anything from 8 to 50 reps, right? There's different types of ways to elicit hypertrophy, right? There's like something called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is just super high reps, getting a crazy pump, like really light weights, but creating a lot of what's called metabolic stress, or just pushing blood into the muscle. And that actually increases the fluid or the sarcoplasm in the muscle, which helps create an anabolic response. And then there's myofibril hypertrophy, which are the actual myosin and actin proteins in the muscle that bond together and pull against one another to shorten that muscle. You damage those myofilaments through lots of muscular tension. So heavy weight, right? Muscular damage, good control, tons of tension. And so, you know, there are people that only train heavy in that 8 to 12 rep range, which is fine, that's effective, but it can beat you up, especially it can beat up your joints. There's some people that only do like really light weights with like ultra slow negatives and control. That's what we call concentration work. And that can be effective, but you don't really get the central nervous system activation or the strength component with that. And then there's the ultra high rep stuff, the metabolic stress stuff, which is awesome, great for, you know, recovery. And so what we do is we take all three of those mechanisms, heavy mechanical loading, concentration work, and metabolic stress, and that's our method, right? We blend those every day, and we use a lot of cool intensification methods. So instead of just doing like straight linear sets, like eight sets or 3 sets of 8 to 12 or something, there's a lot of different stuff thrown in there. Partials, isometrics, overload eccentrics, dynamic resistance, drop sets, supersets, all kinds of really cool stuff. Tempos, mixed tempos, some are fast, some are slow. All different ways to help trick and overload the muscle which a lot of times isn't just about making lightweights feel easy, but really about making, or not making heavyweights feel easy, but are a lot of times about making lighter weights feel hard. But it's that component of failure, right? The exhausting the muscle, whatever mechanism you're using, if it's low rep or high rep or lightweight or heavyweight, doesn't matter. You have to find the cusp of that failure and live there and really push that boundary for at least 1 or 2 sets each exercise to help flip on that growth mechanism. And so not every set needs to be as hard as possible. Not every set needs to be as heavy as possible, but you have to understand the whole process of building up to that threshold in your lead up sets and then really going for it. And if you have a buddy there, a good training partner, having a good training partner that knows where that threshold is for you, that can observe when there's, the oscillation of the muscle or the movement's getting slow or sticky, and being able to help you crank out maybe 1 or 2 forced reps or even finishing with a few partials, that's really the magic ticket for accelerating the progress. I know as I get older, the volume of heavy loading is something that needs to be modulated and really thoughtfully explored. What's the maximum recoverable volume that you can expose your body to so that you're recovered for the next session. Because if you're not recovered for the next session, you're essentially in a recovery deficit. You're blunting the whole growth process. You don't grow in the training session, you grow in between the training session. So you need to be able to recover in a way that, the next time that body part or that movement repeats, one, mentally, you're hungry to go again. You really want to train and express really, really good intensity. And that's where a body part splits come in handy so often. I think that's one of the big hang-ups with athletes coming from CrossFit into maybe more strategic training, is understanding that having the split allows your body the time it needs to let the tissue heal and remodel and recover. And that's why you feel better, and that's why that nagging injury is no longer becoming an issue. Because if you're just randomly pulling stuff out of a hat, you're not really thoughtfully modulating that recovery. So, listen, training's awesome. Nothing more fun for me than sharing training and our training principles with people and smashing iron in the garage with bros. That's the best in the world. But one of the biggest realizations that I've made through bodybuilding is understanding that the gym, although it's fun and we love it, is really a minority in terms of what's going to have the biggest impact on your health, your longevity, and which direction your body's moving, right? Whether you're reducing body fat, maybe losing weight, or gaining muscle mass, adding a lot more muscular size. That kind of chemistry in the body is dictated by diet and lifestyle. And so it's really the other 23 hours of the day that you have the opportunity to really fuck it up, where it doesn't matter how much you love training or how hard you train, because you can't out-train a bad diet and you can't out-train a bad lifestyle, or it'll only get you to a point before you just really need to fix those big things. And some of the big things that I usually end up working on with people are things like sleep. You have to sleep. You got to get the hours. You got to get the quality. You really need to allow your body to heal, and it's going to happen at night with good rest. Everyone overcomplicates recovery, from my opinion. Between the saunas and the red lights and the stim and the massage guns and the acupuncture and the chiropractic and the massage and all the stuff, the cold plunges, it's all based on the same premise. You have to bring blood and nutrients into the muscle, right? So you can do that a lot of different ways, like shooter's choice on how you want to bring fresh blood into the muscle. You can do that with hot and cold, right? With sauna and cold plunge. You could do that with massage, literally pushing blood and bringing blood into that area. You can create the ability to move. Chiropractic is great because you need the ability to move into the positions to help the tissue heal. So getting the movement in. My personal favorite, and it's really simple, I call it capillary flow. It's just light movement, walking, biking, band work, light dumbbell work, calisthenic work, where it's not really like a workout where you're going to break yourself down, but it's a regenerative workout. People call it regen workouts. We call it anabolic recovery. It's the same thing. But I think that's really where the biggest amount of healing is going to take place. And we mentioned the rest. The other big thing and I feel like this is especially relevant as you get older, is stress management. You know, there are multiple components to this, but having some quiet time, chill time, maybe time where you're listening to music, maybe you're doing some yoga. I call it broga, right? A little faster with music I like. Maybe it's stuff like meditating, and you can meditate a lot of different ways. Just, you know, sit, be still. I stare at a fire. I get mesmerized by it. I always feel way better. Problems disappear. Using apps, I like apps like the Calm app. Although one of the big things that helps me personally with stress management is getting off of the cell phone and away from the TV and away from the stimulation and the noise, and just having that quiet and that peace. You know, if you're someone who is a religious person or affiliated with a religion, going to church, going to temple, like reconnecting with your spirituality, that can be great. Your mind has the ability to heal your body, and you gotta empty the trash from your mind. You gotta empty the trash from your heart. You know, those of you guys out here that need to hear this, you need to let go of the hurt. You know, you need to love yourself. You need to know yourself and know who you are. And you need to have a relationship with God, whatever that means to you. Those things are what allow you to really heal and give your life meaning and direction. And I think that is also an integral piece to what's happening physically. You can also see the manifestation of disease from being disconnected from any of those things that I mentioned, being disconnected from yourself, being disconnected from God, now allowing yourself to de-stress, not allowing yourself to recover. You know, like the same way your mind can heal yourself, your mind can make you sick. So there is a lot of healing that is required as you get older, because you go through, whether you realize it or not, you know, the more time you have here on this earth, the more trauma you're going through in one way or another. Some people go through massive, very notable traumas. Some people are unaware of their trauma. They don't even know why they're angry or they're sad. It doesn't really matter, right? What matters is that you're able to kind of clean it out. And that's a really valuable piece. And then just the lifestyle, you know, like maybe being a little bit more intentional, maybe being a little bit less indulgent, maybe living with a bit more purpose, having a schedule, journaling, right? Having what you're going to accomplish that day, having some kind of framework to exercise discipline, because discipline is freedom. You know, like it really is. I read a great book by Ryan Holiday. If you guys don't know him, he does a lot of cool books on stoicism, but my favorite one is called Discipline is Destiny. And it just highlights, you know, without discipline, we're cutting our legs out from under us. And it's not about what you don't do, right? Discipline is not depriving yourself. It's a gift to yourself. Trading what you really want long-term for yourself as a man or a woman, personally, physically, with your work or your family, for what you want right now, which is, you know, immediate comfort, because maybe you don't have a great relationship with yourself, and so you're constantly looking for external validation or something to make you feel better, and that's where you go off the rails. So, you know, that's all tied in with the lifestyle. And when you get all these things in line, right, training, nutrition, lifestyle, that's when you really start to see massive seismic shifts in your life, in your physically, right, in your health, in your aesthetic, in your performance, in your productivity, in your attitude. It just bleeds everywhere. But you kind of have to stack the deck in your favor. It's not just one thing. And so my point is, while focusing on the gym is awesome, and I love the gym, it's a great source of joy, that's one component, and there are a lot of components to this story. And so, you know, we try to come up with ways to deliver that to people and share our stories, and actually maybe in some ways systemize this so people can wrap their head around it all in a way that makes sense. We've come up with a number of different products and services, but the one that I really love that is very accessible, very easy to achieve, and really highly effective is our Shred Challenge. And so in this challenge, you know, athletes come in and they get essentially just at face level training, nutrition, and one-on-one coaching. But along with that comes a whole lifestyle guide. We help you map out your schedule. We help you every single week, you know, giving you macro targets, sample diets, and figuring out how to make that work for you. And then there's that element of accountability where you check in every week with Camille and myself And it's our job to help figure out how to help you be compliant and then how to get you to where you want to be. The same way you might put more weight on the bar to make progress in the gym, we, incrementally progress the nutrition. We have a cardio progression that goes along with it. We start you in an easy, achievable place, and then we build you up. And by the time you're done, you've developed a lot of incredible skills. You know how to follow a schedule, you know how to follow a diet, you know how to follow a training plan, you know how to evaluate yourself, you know how to not be too hard on yourself if you're not perfect. You understand the context of ebbs and flows and how it's just about doing most things well most of the time and allowing the consistency over the long term to carry you. And if you go on to at Thundrbro.com, if you go on either the Shred Challenge or our 90-day Lightning Challenge, you see just this tapestry of before and afters that are really impressive. And the physical transformations are awesome, but what you're not seeing in there are the mental transformations of how you feel about yourself, your ability to be good for your family and your friends and to be the person you aspire to be. It's all connected to that. And I don't mean to get too foofy or esoteric here, but that's the God's honest truth. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I think that fitness, health, this is the avenue for you to build these really integral columns that support the foundation of that person you aspire to be. So if you guys are interested in learning more about that, we got another challenge coming up this next month, starting in May. Cammie and I, we coach those, and it's an honor and a privilege to get to work with you guys. But whether you're into it or not, I'd love for you to check it out if you think that you're the type of person that needs a change or that could use a transformation in anything that we've kind of talked about above. Check it out, and even if you're not into it, feel free to message me and DM me. I get back to every single DM, and I do that because my mission is to be able to spread the joy and generosity, and my avenue for doing that is in this space, in health, fitness, training. So if there's anything I can do to help you, if you have any questions, if you're hung up, injuries, health, hormones, blood work, nutrition, figuring it out, training, figuring it out, let me know, and I'm happy to help you. I might not have every answer, but after over 20 years doing it myself and doing it with lots of athletes, chances are I can at the very least point you in the right direction, give you a good resource, and get you where you want to be. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate your time, and let me know how you like the live. DM me if you got anything, and go to Thundrbro.com and click under challenges and check out the 90-day Lightning Transformation Challenge. Or if you're just interested in doing like a 1-month deal, you can even check out the 30-day Shred Challenge. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.